Hello. Now, I'm not going to be covering all the ships today, but I'll be covering in general the most of them, or giving general suggestions to what you should and shouldn't do. And the point of today's commentary is, of course, to give you guys some idea of what captain builds are viable and smart picks, and what captain picks are probably not the best ones. Starting off, of course, we have the carrier. Now, the only one I really suggest taking is the Ruyo. And if you do pick the Ruyo, of course, the concealment is already fantastic on this ship. So captain perks wise, first of all, ignore emergency takeoff. The only reason I have this perk is because when I need to suicide it in this carrier to make commentaries, having this perk makes it much easier to kill yourself and land your planes while your ship is on fire. Carrier perks are pretty straightforward. Aircraft servicing, torpedo acceleration, torpedo reload, air supremacy. And then if we look at the AA on this ship, I mean, let's first of all, Sea Hull is the one, of course, you'll have equipped. You can see that almost all the AA is on the long range guns, so I would probably pick manual AA to help defend against strikes better, and then I'd pick dogfighting expert for that additional 10% fighter ammunition. And that's pretty much, these are the must-have. This one is pretty much useless. It's not really a big deal. I mean, your rear gunners don't do much to begin with, so getting these two to begin with, and then additional survivability, for example BFT, or there's plenty of different options, or even basics of survivability to deal with being struck better. Ultimately though, this basic build followed by manual AA, and this is pretty much what you want on a carrier, since your stealth is so good, so you don't need concealment expert. Looking at DDs on the Shinonome, I would probably, without a doubt, I probably wouldn't hesitate much here. I just run my Shimakaze captain on my Shinonome wise, and that of course puts our captain at, we have preventive maintenance followed by last stand, followed by survivability expert, followed by concealment expert. And once you have this basic 10 points, you go 12 points, you go adrenaline rush, and 15 points you go torpedo armament expertise, and 19 points you go radio location, aka RPF, which will probably be even more useful in ranked, since it will help you secure capture points. So this build is the same. This captain perk setup I would use on the Hatsuharu, I would use it on the Fubuki. This is the basic IGN torpedo boat build that I love on pretty much all IGN DDs. So this one, very straightforward. Farragut, well, on the Farragut I already have my, I already have a separate captain for it, but ultimately I would probably work to get my gearing captain, which is, of course, let's move on to the gearing. Oh my lord, this UI. Actually, never mind, sorry. Oops, my gearing has a pretty damn retarded build right now, because I was testing some things. Where's my Fletcher? I have a Fletcher, right, there we go. Fletcher captain probably makes a lot more sense for USDDs. Yeah, this build looks like what I would use on the Farragut. Preventive maintenance, once again, very important for DDs, followed by last stand, followed by either survivability expert or superintendent. Which one you want first is up to you. Superintendent is surprisingly good on the Farragut, once again, because the one reason to bring a Farragut to ranked would be the additional smokes, or the additional duration on the smokes, so extending that by 1 is of course fantastic. Followed by concealment expert, adrenaline rush, and then either one of these two perks, followed by finally radio location. In fact, I might probably get superintendent and survivability expert before I get AR on a Farragut, simply because of how important the health and the additional smoke is. RPF, once again, the last perk. RPF is something I take on pretty much all DDs, and this kind of DD build, yeah, pretty much straightforward. Gnevny, I straight up don't recommend the Gnevny for ranked. Okay, I don't even have a good captain for this going on right now, but ultimately Anshan, now that's a ship I could see myself taking into ranked easily. This is one ship I recommended. A main issue the Anshan of course has is slow turret traverse, and you kind of want to play it a bit more actively than you would play the rest of the ships. So I would probably take preventive maintenance, followed by last stand, followed by survivability expert, followed by concealment expert. At this point, if you only have a 10-point captain and you can't afford expert marksman, I would slot turret traverse. Then when you can afford expert marksman, you can remove turret traverse, and then you can spec into expert marksman, followed by AR, followed by priority target. Now, why is priority target good? Because the Anshan has 11.9 km gun range, and it's very, very fast, meaning you can play it like a hybrid between a capture point contester, thanks to its great stealth, and you can also play it like a Russian DD, where you kite around, you sail around, and you just harass them with your main guns. And priority target is very useful in knowing how many people are targeting you and when you need to chill and just disengage. And finally, of course, RPF, because of all the additional information it will give you, especially when it comes to contesting caps or getting them for free and so forth. So that would be my Anshan build. Do I have any other DDs that I should probably cover? Gaede. I mean, if you are going to bring a Gaede, I'd probably go with the torpedo boat build I run on my Z52, to be fair. Z52 torpedo build. Basically, preventive maintenance, followed by last stand, followed by survivability expert, followed by concealment expert, followed by adrenaline rush. So far, pretty damn standard. And then I would slot in things like torpedo armament expertise, superintendent, and priority target. Allows you to use your guns a bit more, and most of all, it focuses heavily on your torpedo build. That's the Gaede should have Hydra, right? Let's check. Gaede does have Hydra, of course, yes. So thanks to the Hydra, you don't need RPF as much, since you can't really get surprised in the same way. And I would just focus on the full torpedo loadout build that I mentioned there. With the full torpedo reload build, you should be you'll be able to cut down this reload, especially if AR is kicking in. You can probably cut down this reload to something like 70 seconds if you, let's say, you take half your health and damage and AR kicks in. So you'll be a decent torpedo boat. I don't think the Gaede will ever be that good for rank, though. It's one of mine not recommended, just like the Gnevny. The Anshan is simply better, because the Gnevny I would build similarly to the Anshan, of course. The issues is it has such shit torpedo range that you can't really make use of it in the same way as you can with the Anshan. Any other DDs? Possibly, but whatever. I'm skipping them. I can't be arsed going over them. A Gallant. Well, Gallant isn't released, so we can't cover that one. Battleships. Let's see. Battleships. Well, here we have a couple of different things. Let's start with the Dunkirk, since a lot of people will probably be using this. Let's see, Dunkirk, what captain am I using? Probably preventive maintenance, since, well, losing your front turrets being damaged is a constant pain in the ass, and considering you'll be sitting a lot of angled in ranked, and you'll be shot a lot in your bow, in your nose, so to say, it's probably going to be just as good in ranked as it's in random battles. Turret traverse is pretty damn good, so you can get AR straight from the bat, followed by superintendent for that additional heal. And finally, well, I like concealment expert for randoms. I think it'll probably be pretty good for ranked as well, because without it your concealment is so absolute. This is with concealment expert, so without it your concealment is so absolute garbage that people can take pot shots at you across the map. And considering how squishy the armor is, being punished by battleships across the map is probably not fun. This is one of the few ships that I do focus manual AA on, mostly because I really don't value the other perks as much. Ultimately, if there's no carriers around, instead of going to go manual AA to buff these AA guns, you could probably go fire prevention instead. I personally like manual AA though, but this is not a ship I would really bring to ranked, but probably something like this. I still have 2 points to unlock. Possibly if I have a 19-point captain, I might even spec out of expert marksman, because as I said, the turret traverse is very good, and I'd get fire prevention instead. But that is the Dunkirk. Oh, and shit, I haven't covered cruisers yet. I'll cover them last. Warspite. I pretty much went with a slightly modified hood build on the Warspite, which means preventive maintenance, because, well, these turrets, when you fight other battleships, they get knocked out quite a lot. You have to get the expert marksman first, because the turret traverse is absolutely abysmal, followed by superintendent for an additional heal, followed by concealment expert, because your concealment is absolutely amazing on this one. Once you have this basic build, I would get AR, because AR is god tier on pretty much every single ship. Fire prevention, so that with all the HE spam, at least the fires won't be as much of an issue. There will be a lot of HE spam this season, at least I expect there to be. And finally, vigilance with the last points, because you have excellent maneuverability, so being able to dodge those torps is going to be highly valuable. Let's see, Bayern. Do I have any captain ready for the Bayern? I'd probably go my tank build on the Bayern, to be fair. My Grosse Kurfürst tank build. Looking at the AA, this is of course a ship that greatly benefits from manual AA. Like, this is a ship where you can... The reason I don't buff AA on for something like the Warspite is because the AA is so crap on it to begin with, it's not really worth it. Whereas Bayern AA, if you go manual AA with this upgraded hull, you can actually get really sick anti-air. So that's probably something I would consider. Also, Concealment Expert will give it excellent stealth, as we can see here. So probably something similar to, let's say, maybe my Bismarck build. Let's see, do I have to include my tier 8s here? Where's my Bismarck? Actually, no, Bismarck is too secondary focused. So I guess we'll go similarly to Kurfürst. Let's jump into our Kurfürst. Yeah, pretty similarly. Do we need expert marksman on the Bayern? Actually, let me check so I don't lead you astray. What's our turret traverse? What is our turret traverse? 51. Okay, so pretty much all these low tier battleships need expert marksman then. So very similar to my Grosse Kurfürst, with the only exception being that I might spec into manual AA for the increased anti-air, instead of going basics of survivability, and or actually maybe instead of going fire prevention, I might give up fire prevention and basics of survivability and instead get vigilance and manual AA, otherwise a similar captain on the Bayern. That would probably be my go-to pick. Torps I think are going to be a bigger issue to it than the HE spam, because, well, the Bayern is decently fast. Of course, it depends a lot on the meta, on what kind of focus you'll be seeing. Ships like Arizona, I'll probably just go my basic US captain on Arizona. Arizona and New Mexico. Basic US captain means, US battleship captain means my, let's see, who do we have here? We got an NC captain. Let's see my Montana captain. We can move my NC captain, I think. Where is he? I think they're pretty much identical. I'm actually using on the NC I'm actually using priority target. On the Montana I use preventive maintenance, but ultimately this basic build is probably going to be very strong. You of course want turret traverse because your main battery turret traverse is so goddamn garbage. You want adrenaline rush as usual. You want concealment expert and superintendent because you get great stealth. You want the additional heal, and in general US ships tend to have their AA more spread out. New Mexico has significantly better AA, so it would benefit more from AFT. Once again, the different here it becomes much down to how many carriers will we see and how much HE spam will we see. If we see a lot of HE spam, of course fire prevention is going to be significantly better than AFT. If we see a lot of carriers, then of course AFT is going to be better. So this is something that kind of we have to see as the season goes on, which one will be happening more. Personally, I predict it's probably going to be more HE spam, so fire prevention is going to be overall better. Fire prevention of course helps you against carriers as well, because if you get dropped by a carrier, with fire prevention you usually only get one fire set upon you by the bombs. So fire prevention has the benefit of being dual purpose. Any other battleships? Mutsu, Fuso, probably go with my IGN captain build, IGN battleship build, which is almost identical, I would say. Where's my... let's move my Yamato captain over. Let's see, what's our turret traverse? It's horribly slow as well. Of course, on the Mutsu, just I run the double spotter plane thing, or well, that I run it on the Yamato, but I guess it would be just perfectly fine for the Mutsu as well, since you don't really lose turrets that much, since the armor on them is pretty good. this isn't that big of a difference which one you end up using. Turret Traverse, Adrenaline Rush, AF, this very basic battleship build. I usually value these basic battleship builds that are overall quite useful. The AA is pretty damn pitiful on the Mutsu though, so I think straight from the get-go you could give up AFT and just go for fire prevention. It will probably be more valuable than even trying to buff this anti-air. I mean, these anti-air values are terrible, so on the Mutsu I would give up AFT and just go straight for fire prevention. I think it'd just be significantly stronger. Fuso exactly the same thing. There's no point buffing this anti-air. The anti-air is pitiful. The anti-air is completely pitiful. No point buffing this. Just go straight for the fire prevention on the Fuso as well. I think that was most of my battleships covered. If I missed some, shit happens. Let's see, cruisers, a lot of cruisers to cover. Perth, well, I'll start with the odd ones. Perth, straight up captain perks. On every single cruiser you want priority target, because you want to know when someone is shooting at you. Adrenaline Rush, I think you can get away with it on pretty much all of them, because these lower tier cruisers have such great turret traverse that you don't really need expert marksman. Which one you use here, Demo or Superintendent, both are good, kinda up to flavor. Concealment Expert, first pick, and this is for any cruisers with 150 to 155 millimeter. Use IFHE. Note 150 to 155. Any cruisers that have this, you want IFHE on. Any other cruisers at this tier for ranked, you do not want it on. So that means Perth obviously wants this. What else would I pick with my final? What do I have? 5 points. I'd probably get Superintendent and then Smokescreen Expert. This would be my last 5 points would go into these two. Duke I already have a full build on. Once again, priority target, Adrenaline Rush, fire chance, concealment, IFHE, because well, it's got 152 millimeter guns. So this is the basic build. Follow that up with better torpedo dodging, vigilance. In general though, this is a fast ship you want to keep on the move, so you don't want to sit in the smoke as much as the rest of the team. And preventive maintenance to not lose as many turrets and such. You don't really need turret traverse at all, as you can see, and in general you want to move around and constantly spam your 12 km torps and try to see if you can harass. Overall though, I don't think that Duke is going to be that good for ranked. De Grasse, same build as I would use on the Galissonière. Once again, straight up priority, adrenaline, demolition, concealment, IFHE. Once again, 152 millimeters, so we benefit from this. Another fighter plane, which is of course greatly useful if you can use the extremely long-lasting 6-minute fighter planes. Having 2 of them is even more annoying for your opponent. If I had the last 4 points, let's see, how's my AA? My AA is actually so... The Grasse has such good AA on these high caliber guns, I'd probably go manual AA on top here, because that would make this ship quite strong at shredding planes. Nuremberg, just like the Graf Spee, of course, these have large caliber guns, 283 on the Graf Spee, 203 on the Nuremberg. Actually, sorry, Nuremberg of course only has 150, but the Nuremberg already has built-in IFHE. They buffed the HE pen, so there's absolutely no point to go IFHE on the Nuremberg anymore, because they buffed the HE pen on the German cruisers. So on this one, I would once again priority, AR, demolition, concealment. And at this point, well, I've gone turret traverse. I'm not saying it's the best choice. If I had more points, where would I even want to spec this ship? It's so damn squishy. This is one of those ships that you can probably experiment a bunch of different builds. Vigilance, never a bad choice, especially if you do have to slot defensive AA. Even without it, might not be a bad choice. Your anti-air is pretty damn sad. If you slot the sea hull, you'll get better anti-air, but you give up your torps. Once again, this depends. If you see a lot of carriers, this might be an okay choice, but most of the time you'll want to keep your double set of torps on both sides. But the Nuremberg, besides the basic captain, that one allows you to experiment quite a lot. Graf Spee, no IFHE again, because why the hell would you want it? 283mm guns on top of being German makes it no point. Molotov, how's the turret traverse? Pretty damn good. So basic cruiser build here. Note that you don't want the IFHE on a Molotov in ranked. because there's no 32mm armor barriers that you need to shatter, so there's absolutely no point in running IFHE. In fact, running IFHE on the Molotov is a nerf, so don't use it for ranked. It's good for randoms, but not for ranked, because you only face tier 6 ships. Cleveland, Budyonni, same thing. Budyonni, same thing as all of these. Cleveland, same thing, except on the Cleveland I have a very straightforward build. Priority, Adrenaline, Demolition, Concealment, the basic build, and then we build IFHE, additional damage, and AFT, of course, because this ship has excellent anti-air on all of its auras. All these auras are great, especially the mid and long tier, so extending this range to 7.2 and 5.1 means you can shred planes at a massive distance. And final point is in preventive maintenance, because I don't want to lose turrets. Alternatively, running the second spotter plane wouldn't be a bad idea either. In fact, for ranked, I might even spec out of this and just get the second spotter plane, because these spotter planes are super useful in ranked. They're highly annoying for the enemy and they gave you so much spotting information, so I might even spec into that. We'll have to see. I might have missed some ships, but I think I covered most of them, or at least gave an idea of what I consider strong and bad perks. Anyway, I hope you guys got something out of this. A lot of people requested I do something similar like this. So yes, I might have missed some ships. I pretty much just went through the stuff that I have in my dock. Actually, lander, honestly, I'd probably go with my Minotaur spec, I assume. I don't see any reason why I wouldn't go with my Minotaur spec. Where's my Minotaur? Minotaur. So, priority target, of course. AR. No, this time you don't go demo expert, of course, on the lander, because, well, you don't have HE. Superintendent, concealment expert, and smokescreen expert for larger smokes. That's the basic build for me on Royal Navy. This is the basic 12 point. And at this point, let's look at the stats to see what I would go afterwards. How's the AA on our lander? This is fully upgraded. Let's go. Do we have any anti-air on this? Okay, so the anti-air is garbage. So not much point in speccing AFT at all. Not much point in speccing AFT at all. So I'd probably go Vigilance to be able to dodge those torps better. And how's our turret traverse? It's really good. We don't really need the turret traverse. Huh. I like at this point you probably have a lot of points to waste, to be fair, or well, not waste but use on things out of flavor. So I'd probably go priority, AR, superintendent, concealment expert, smokescreen, and vigilance. And honestly, since you have exactly 4 points to spare, going RPF probably isn't a bad idea. The RPF can really, like, it can really throw off people, and the lander is extremely stealthy. It gets I think 8.6 km stealth or something similar. It's I think the stealthiest cruiser of them all at this tier. So yeah, I think that might actually really throw people off, which might be, I think RPF as the final perk might be surprisingly useful on the lander. Will allow you to ambush and surprise a lot of people. But ultimately, that final 4 points is kind of, I'll leave it up to you. There's a lot of things you can go. I mean, you could even go just full cooldown build as well. That probably wouldn't be bad either. Instead of going for RPF, you just spec Jack of all trades for faster reload on your smoke, and maybe you get the faster turret traverse. That's not a bad idea either. I think you have a lot of leeway when it comes to those last perks. Anyway, as I was saying, I didn't really cover all the ships because, well, I don't think I have all of them, but I have the majority and the odd ones and so forth. So hopefully at least this helped some of you out when it comes to how you want to outfit your ships for ranked. That was all for me though. I'm gonna head out now, so I hope you guys enjoyed this commentary. I'll talk to you guys later.